Whew. Let's just do this. Hello guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I am the Philadelphia Whovian, and this video is part 2 of my top 10 overrated Doctor Who stories list. And if you have not seen the my previous video, I think you should go watch that one and then come back to this one. But if you are starting out with this one, I'm going to give it to you right now. We're now going to be going from number 8 downward. The previous video did number 10 and number 9. And with this one, this top 10 overrated list, I'm going to make it very clear again. And guys, I see why these episodes that are on this list are popular and get love. My 3 requirements just for why they're overrated is because simply I've seen them get praised when people praise them are the same people, same set of individuals, who criticize other episodes when those episodes have the same problems as the episodes they are praising. Or if these episodes are not that creative at all, but this, which again, I don't have a problem. I'm going to make it very clear. I do not have a problem with a story not being creative, but if you're going to criticize that story for not being creative, and you're going to praise other episodes when that episode is not creative either, it's based on something else, I'm going to simply call it out for doing that. Okay. Now, what we have at number 8. Sorry, just give me some time. Just facing the reality of the hate I might get. Number 8 is Turn Left, from Series 4 of New Who of the 10th Doctor's era. Okay, Turn Left. Before you hate me, I'm going to show you the things I love about it. And those who've seen my video on Turn Left before, sorry, this is going to be really redundant. Turn Left, number 1. Okay, guys, I love the look of Turn Left. I love everything surrounding Donna Noble. Like the idea of her being in a world where if a certain situation has happened, then everything is going to fall apart, all because of that one situation. Everything going to crap, and then Donna has to live in this world where all this has happened. Love it all. I love Donna in the situation, and Catherine Tate gave a great performance in that role. But the fact is, with Turn Left, okay, number 1, it is not original. Turn Left, the plot line of it has been taken from has been done so many times before, from It's a Wonderful Life, to Star Trek, to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That plot, the idea of something happening, and because it no longer is happening, something went back in time and changed it, everything else now is changing. That's not unique to this story. And again, I'm going to make it very clear, guys. I am okay with a story not being that original and it doing what has been done before. We're in 2019. Plot lines are going to be recycled over and over again. I'm just simply calling you this episode out on it because there's sorry, stuttering. A select group of people who will praise this episode but then criticize other episodes for not being original as well. I'm not saying you, the viewer, are that person. I'm just saying there is some people I've seen praise this story, Turn Left, but criticize other stories when Turn Left did the exact same thing that episode they hate did. That's it. I would never hold anything against a story for not being original unless it's like that episode's getting praised for the very same thing that other episodes get criticized for. There's that. But also, oh, dear God. The premise to Turn Left, okay. The story, okay, it looks good. Everything around Donna Noble is wonderful. But the premise itself is actually very bad. And, I mean, when I say bad, I mean bad. What is the premise of this story? Think about it. Go on, think about it. Go, oh, yeah, Google. Think about it. Here's the premise of the story. God darn. Okay, the premise of the story is, because Donna Noble was not there during the incidents that happened in Runaway Bride, the Doctor ended up dying, and all these problems happened all because the 10th Doctor never met Donna Noble. Here's why this is very bad. How did he die? He drowned in the very flood he created, meaning the 10th Doctor is so incompetent that either he can't get out of a flood that he created, making him like Crab, or is it Goyle? The taller guy in Harry Potter. I want to say it's maybe Goyle. Either way, the one character in the 7th Harry Potter book, remember he created the fire in the room of the requirement, and then he ended up dying in the very same fire that he created? Yeah, The 10th Doctor is pretty much now, he's like Goyle or Crab, whichever bad guy that was. Yeah, where he created something, created a catastrophe, and then dies in the catastrophe. Either because he is so impotent that he can't get out of the very flood he created, or he was so incredibly hypnotized and fascinated by the mass genocide and infanticide he caused on the Arachnos children, he didn't even bother to notice that the water was rising, and he therefore didn't notice he was not going to get out in time. Either way, the turn left happens solely because the Doctor is so bad he is downright incompetent, or he just has such a bloodlust he can't notice and get out of the very problem he caused. Guys, when you really think about that, that is not good. That is such a bad way to present a Doctor. It's just so... It is. And again, this is my problem with the 10th Doctor. I want to think he's the best. I wanted to love him so much. But they make him so incompetent, and they make some of the things he does so stupid that it's like he claims to think he's clever, but he is a prime example of a clever person who knows they're clever, so they can't see when they're stupid. I want to get to that later with the 10th Doctor, but I just don't like the premise of an entire episode being on the Doctor being so stupid. He can't get out of the problem he caused, and he needs this one woman to enter his entire life to save him from his own imminent death that he created. That's just weird. Okay, and then my other problem with Turn Left. Okay, who is the reason why Donna has that insect on her back? Who is the villain here? Oh, that fortune teller. Yeah, you had a hard time remembering her, didn't you? The actress who played her was wonderful, had a very good look to her. But, wait a minute. Why is she doing all this? In the arc of the story, when does it get explained why she's doing anything she's doing? Why? Where's her intention? Oh, that's right, it's non-existent. We never get shown in the context of the storytelling, why she is doing this to Donna, why she's choosing Donna, why she's picking on Donna. It never gets explained. And if a villain's intentions are not explained in the context of this story that's being presented to the audience, the intention is not there, and intention is everything. Thus we have a good actress who's playing a poorly developed villain. Then we have Rose Tyler, who is literally used as a plot device in this story to the umpteenth degree. She does not even have a personality anymore. She is like a plot device to save Donna Noble, and it's not explained at all how she can do any of these things, how she can work all this technology, or how she even gained access to it. It's never explained. Something I would not care about, but the same people who've praised this episode are the same people who've criticized other episodes I've seen, where they were mad about this one episode not explaining how the Doctor did this. It's like, but then you're okay with this over here. There's just that too. So it's an episode that looks good, feels good, but it has a very bad premise to it. And the idea also of the insect going on Donna's back and certain people seeing it every now and again, that is not creative to Turn Left either. That was taken from the third Doctor's final story, The Planet of Spiders. There, I've said my piece on that part. Okay, so Turn Left, I get why you love it. I'm just saying it's overrated because it has some of the same problems as episodes that people have hated on. That's it. Okay, now we have, oh gosh, sorry I keep looking down, but I'm just afraid to confront the people's reactions to this. Number 7, we have Dalek. Guys, again, hear me out before you attack me. Go off of what I'm saying in my explanation than just, she said this, now I hate her. Please, I understand why you like Dalek, but the fact is, it's one of the most overrated stories for me, subjectively, personally. I'm not saying you should hate it, I'm just saying here's why I think it's overrated. Okay, what do I like about Dalek first? The only thing and the sole thing I love about Dalek is the actual Dalek. This Dalek was freaking frightening. It was incredible. The director did a good job realizing this Dalek. It is wonderful. It's amazing. And that's something I really do love about Dalek. I see why people love the way the Dalek was portrayed in this. But why do I think it's overrated? number one of why I think it's overrated. Well, first of all, it is not original in any way, shape, or form. And when I say not original, the reason what I hold against Dalek is I could give credit to Dalek for being a copy of something if it was better than what it was copying, but it's not. I'm going to give you a premise and see if this sounds familiar to you. I'm going to just strip down Dalek to its core essentials. Ready? Okay. You have the Doctor and his companion arriving at a place where there's a person who keeps a Dalek in a private underground or someplace compartment, and this Dalek is at first completely restrained, etc. and so forth, but all it needs to completely get free is some power, and once it gets that power, it goes on a killing rampage because, according to what one doctor said once upon a time, one Dalek, that's all it takes. One Dalek to wipe out an entire colony. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to give you the Jeopardy theme music to see if you can figure it out. Alright, timing now. Do 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 bump bump bump. Time's up. It's Power of the Daleks, people. Yes, the first story that had a Dalek in it of New Who was a cheap run, like a literally cheaply done, the most cheaply done version you could get of Power of the Daleks. Yes, it is. And you're thinking, oh my god, it's completely different, the details are completely different, it makes it not the same. Let me tell you a little fun thing, an explanation to you about what it means to be a reimagining or a variation of something. Hold on, I'm going to get something for you to prove it. Put it. Almost done. There we go. Okay, let's just pull out you. And you. Here we go. Okay. This is a little known novel called Pride and Prejudice. I'm sure you've never heard of it before. Please tell me you detect the sarcasm in my voice. Okay. Yes. Now, Pride and Prejudice, I'm going to assume you all know the story of Pride and Prejudice. But here's the thing about Pride and Prejudice, that this is how I actually made a living for the majority of my time as a writer. I wrote what were called Jane Austen Pride and Prejudice reimaginings or variations, including two of these, Truth and Triumph and The Wit and Wisdom of Wilde. What does that sound like to you? Truth and Triumph was a Pride and Prejudice reimagining where a woman named Elisa Bennet, she was in the 1940s, it is after World War II, one of a painting that was very famous in her family. It was a painting that they had collected. It was taken over to Germany to be put on display before the war happened. And the person, their art dealer, who saw to their art was a Jewish person, but when Hitler came to power, he rounded up all these Jews and collected and stole art. The Jewish person who had their painting was put into a concentration camp. They lost the painting. The war's over, and they find out that the Jewish dealer who had their art had survived the concentration camp. So Elisa goes over to Germany, and she actually is helping, and because the army has people, like army exchange services, they exchange certain people to go to different countries to explore and to work a part of the government, and she goes to Germany for this. And while she's there, she goes there with the sole intention of finding what happened to their painting and finding out that the art dealer, who was Jewish, is okay. She brings her sister along with her. There were only 3 sisters, not 5. Brings one of her sisters along with her, and they go over to Germany. And while there, they come across Mr. Darcy, who Eliza has not seen in 10 years since before the war. Mr. Darcy is actually, he fought in World War II, and he was friends with Arthur C. Clarke, the writer of 2001 A Space Odyssey, who also served in World War II. People forget that. And then along the way, we eventually meet Sir Edmund Hillary, who is the man who would go on to climb Mount Everest, but we also meet C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, who also were around in this time. Does this plot sound anything like Pride and Prejudice? It does not. Then we have The Wit and Wisdom of Wilde, I wrote, which takes place in the late 1800s, during a time where Oscar Wilde is still very famous, he's not notorious, and Elizabeth Bennet is one of the actresses in his show, and she proposed to Mr. Darcy in the beginning of the book, and he turned her down. Two stories that are a reimagining of Pride and Prejudice, but are completely different stories. I could have published these stories, changed the names of the characters, and you would never have known these were Jane Austen reimaginings. But I did it anyway. You know why? Because it doesn't matter how far I varied from Jane Austen's writings, I still got the idea from her, so she deserves all the credit. Now you know how far a reimagining and a variation can go. Now you know how far it can deviate from the original material. So when I say a reimagining or a variation, what I specifically mean is that a story takes the premise of another story and builds on it and changes it in a certain way. But if you look closely, you can see the core of the premise of the first story, the original story, in that new story. So you think you're getting a different story because details are changed here, here, and here, but you're actually getting the same story. You're just getting a reimagining of that first story. Now you know what a reimagining is, and now you know how far a reimagining can go from the original concept. Now you know how easy it is to do a reimagining and trick people into thinking you're giving them something new. Or people think you're giving them something new, but you are not really. Now you know. Dalek. Now look at the concept of Dalek. Remember, the second Doctor said, one Dalek is all you need to take down this entire colony. He literally gave the plot line to Dalek in that one sentence. He literally said, all it takes is one Dalek. And what is Dalek about? The first series of New Who with the 9th Doctor, Dalek is about one Dalek getting free once it's given enough power and taking down the entire area it was chained down to. You even have the second Doctor, the sentiments he described about all the Daleks should be destroyed was the same sentiment the 9th Doctor had in Dalek, just in a different way, but they still were like, no, you have to destroy all the Daleks and depower them as well. And then the Dalek gets its power and then goes on a rampage and kills everyone. The difference is Dalek was just one Dalek, and Power of the Daleks started out as one Dalek, but it eventually ended up being a whole tons of Daleks, wiping out the entire colony. There's that. Then, but what you also have, and I'll say it again, Dalek is not as good as Power of the Daleks because it strips away all the intelligence and all the research and science that Power of the Daleks had in it, and the writer did its best to put into it. Dalek just strips all that science, all that intelligence and knowledge out of it, and gives you a... Guys, how does the Dalek die in Dalek? It gets a hold of Rose because she could not get out in time. And then eventually, the Dalek commits suicide by dying in the sun. Series 1 of New Who soap operaed a Dalek. That's what it did. It soap operaed the Dalek, turned the Dalek into a soap opera character and allowing itself to be sacrificed. All because of Rose. Oh my God. Guys, do you really think that's good storytelling? I mean, did you really buy that? That is a cop-out, how to end this story. Because it's like, we're not going to use our intelligence to end the story. We're not going to use the Doctor outsmarting the Dalek or thinking of something. No, we're going to have the Doctor not think of anything and the Dalek choose to kill itself. You guys, really stop and think. Is that really the best? Are you sure? You sure that's good storytelling? You sure? You sure? And then we have one of my main problems with this story, Rose Tyler. Okay. Dear God. Okay, again, I said it before, I'll say it again. My criticism to Rose in this episode is going to go to the fact that I've seen other companions criticized for the same problem that Rose gets praised for here. Rose is literally used as a plot device. She becomes the inciting incident to how the whole problem happens. She literally does. Oh my God. Because stop and think about it. If it weren't for Rose, touching the Dalek, would there have been a problem? And if you're thinking right now, well, the Dalek was already there, so there already was a problem. No, that's not the inciting incident of a story. The inciting incident is what sparks the rest of the story into happening and sparks the rising action, crisis, and climax. It brings those into play. The scenario that is presented when you're writing a story is called the exposition. The idea of the Doctor and Rose going to a place where there was a man who had a Dalek chained up, that's just the exposition. What sparked the plot into happening? What sparked the crisis, the conflict, everything? It was Rose Tyler making a choice to touch the Dalek and cause the entire thing into happening. And look what happens. She literally is a plot device to cause the problem. And I know you're thinking, oh, well, Rose didn't know this, so it's not her fault. I'm not talking about the Rose. I'm talking about the writing. This is them using the companion to cause a problem. And I would not harp on this even that much if it weren't for the fact that other people have gotten mad at companions for being plot devices that caused the solution. I'm going to get into that later in another video. But honestly, guys, really? Rose Tyler causes the entire problem, and here's the worst thing. Her actions cause so much death. She literally causes so much innocent lives being lost, but then it's all over and we're all like, Rose, you're so deep. And the Doctor goes off and travels more with Rose because of how much she always helps. She caused the entire problem. She caused the death of innocent people. But because she's a deep character who is developed, all those deaths mean nothing. She's still a great companion, isn't she? Never mind, she was used as a plot device to cause the problem. So now you know I'm going to stop this video now so I can do my next video because it's going on for way too long. So these are my next video of my top 10 overrated Doctor Who stories. Guys, I understand why everybody loves these stories. I get why you think they're great and they're awesome. This is just me with these stories. And sorry that I'm so long-winded about it. It's just simply that I gotta give reasons for why I find these overrated. If I just point them out to you and I give no reasons, I'm not doing a good job explaining why something that you love, I just find slightly overrated. I do see why you love them. I just find them overrated. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you again very soon. Peace out.